going to read two poems. The first one is called The Right One. Who is the right one for you? Someone you can openly talk to, find out their name, occupation, amount, kids, if any, can talk to them and many. They will accept you for who you are and will not have to meet in a bar. They'll tell you about a bad day and will not always make you pay. The right one, they say you'll know right from the start. They will automatically have your heart. She will not change the way she is and not ever fizz. They say it's the stuff that matters that will amount. When you're not looking, they will be found. They may be near when they seem so far. She would be someone that I could drive in my car. The right one will have a common ground. She can be found. Best things come to those who wait. If she comes, I will try not to hesitate. Right now, I enjoy my life, but when it comes, I will ask her to be my wife. And just to let you know, I wrote this poem when I was single many, many years ago, and I did find the right one, and she's right here, Veronica, my lovely wife. Thank you. Okay, so the acronym today is BULLY. B, think that they are big and strong. U, some believe that the uniform makes them 10 foot tall and bulletproof. L, foul language makes them tough, so they think. L, most feel that they have to lie. Y, youth is where it starts and victimize. What can you do to prevent bullying? Educate. When Pink on February 26, 25, is around, wear pink. Stop it before it happens. Help one who needs it, and don't be afraid to speak up. Thank you very much, and have a great night.
Well, Dan, thank you for starting off on bullies. I think that mine follow right along, and I didn't even know that you were going to talk about bullies. So it's kind of hard to turn on the news these days, but anyway, we still do. So I'm going to talk about the, oh, that's better. It's hard to turn on the news, and we still do. So today I'm going to talk about the mango marionette. Okay, Project 2025, he still denies. He threatens allies, turns them into foe. He thwarts checks and balances, laws he defies. What happened to him 40 years ago? Who washed his brain in Russia long ago? He threatens allies, making them his foe. He cut FBI and CIA with Musk's abrasion. Who washed his brain in Russia long ago, making the US ripe for an invasion? He cut the FBI and CIA with Musk's abrasion. Democracy he deemed dispensable, dismantling the US for invasion. As dictator, he's made it vulnerable. Democracy he's deemed dispensable, thwarts checks and balances, defies the laws. As dictator, he's made all of us vulnerable. Project 2025, without pause. Thank you. Now, if that sounded a little bit repetitive, it is. It's a very strict form called a pontoon, and I'm trying to master it. It's where the second and fourth line of each verse becomes the first and third in the next. And then you end with the same statement as you begin with. Okay, continuing on with our theme of bullies. After Aquajog, I see them on the street. By the way, I'll start again. These are in rhyming couplets. The title is Youth. After Aquajog, I see them on the street, slinking along in groups to find a place to eat. Heads down, ball caps plowing into the wind, bundled together, some succor they will find. Decades ago, girls traded skirts for jeans. Now they're all in pants, de rigueur for teens. Now, sensing the chasms between their life and mine, my voice breaks their cluster like oil into wine. Voters of the future, I rasp out to them, startled. Then they relax when they see this old hen. Enjoy your youth and question everything. One dreadlock's head pops up and proclaims, voter of the past, what truths can you share? I say, learn much in your youth, and I toss my white hair. Question all that you hear and learn how to see from others' perspectives. That will set you free. Curious now, they come near to me. And what makes you think that now we're not free? Because you're young and molded by fate. Indeed, take your mind by the hand. You determine its shape. After that, we each brave the Lethbridge gale. Can't read it. Wondering what learning each new day will hail. Thank you.
Okay, this one's called Peace in Your Sandals. I'm looking for peace, gonna find it now, seeing what I see going all around. I have all these wounds deep inside my mind, gonna figure out, catching up to time. Spin another web, catch me in the claws, saying what I said, seeing what I saw. Time is coming out, I am going to try, gonna make it fast, letting out a sigh. I am going to break through another wall as I spin away, losing all control. I have found a way that I have to be, standing on the coals, feel them on my feet. Do not want to twist from out of the grasp, just making a list and doing it fast. Life is a challenge, I face it every day, as I burn my mind, as I fade away. Getting what I give, coming from the hole, cross another bridge, feel it in your soul. Picking up the piece, see it on the floor, as I turn away, going out the door. I don't want to try to be something else. Happy's what I am, as I ring a bell. All the other time, when I went away, reading of the mind, fading of the gray. Thanks. Here's a political one. Okay, this one's called Sing My Anthem, Not Your Own. I'm a proud Canadian. I don't want to change. I'm not gonna put it back so they can rearrange. I do not care what they say when they speak aloud. I will never give away the reason that I'm proud. All these liars in the wings are trying to flap their arms. Throw them all into the ring, see if they're safe from harm. Criminals and rapists now gonna interrupt, swarming over borders, never giving what they got. All the foolishness I see is somewhere over there. That's where I want it to stay, not have it in my hair. Growing weak with self-disgust is what I hope they do. But if they cannot complete, they'll turn it into you. Sing for me another line as you stand there and dance, growing bored with all the time you're trying to take a chance. So I'm going to tear the hair from off their stupid head. I am going to give a care and see what all they said. We are stronger than they do not have a chance. Giving grief without a care, I'm sick of their tired stance. Beaver is gonna chop them up like they are made of wood. Moose are gonna trample them till they are understood. In my mind, I broke them up and left them to decay. If they're gonna sing their song, we'll sing ours all the way. Morning never came to town. They're stuck inside the night. If they want to stare us down, be prepared for a fight. Thanks.
Those of you who have listened to me over the last nearly 7 years know that the topics of my poetry range from the really serious to the almost ludicrous. Well, we're living in pretty ludicrous times that are pretty serious too, so my first poem tonight is one of the serious kind. It's called The Torch. In Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. John McCrae. We all know this poem, have probably heard it countless times, especially on Remembrance Day. But it seems we haven't taken it to heart, for the dead no longer sleep in peace beneath these many rows of crosses. Those who died to save our future tossed from failing hands a torch, imploring us to take it up, to hold it high, to continue their fight for freedom, for our cherished way of life. Many hands still hold that torch, but far too many others dropped it, laughing, nay, rejoicing at its fading flame, deliberately or not, breaking faith with those who gave their lives for us, for all of us born these many generations later. Larks may still be singing above the chaos humans make, but they too are in peril. Evil triumphs when the good look on and do nothing. We must find ways to come together in hope, in strength, determined and resolved, in numbers of critical mass, families, friends, strangers, refusing the divide and conquer tactics of the manipulators, affirming fact and truth, uniting our hands to firmly grasp that torch, raise and hold it high, to look evil in the face, even while afraid, and roar our unison, no. That poem, believe it or not, came out of my love for doing family history. And the vast number, the increasing number of family members I found who served in wars, who died or were seriously injured, everybody traumatized in those wars. My second poem also comes from my love of family history. I learned a couple of weeks ago that in family trees, especially on Find My Past, but probably everywhere, 70% of the names that are marked unknown are women. So this is a tribute to one of the women in my family line, my grandmother, whose name I do know, but I don't know that much about her. This is called Pam for short, and this is and is not a short poem. She was the fourth girl child, one in each of 4 generations of her mother line to be named Pamela, but she was always just called Pam for short. An Englishwoman born in Queen Victoria's reign, she grew up with opportunities in short supply. Life offered her no shortcuts to the adult life society expected. She knew her place, a lowly female. Career choices for young women were few, and so she opted for teaching to tide her over until she fulfilled her real career as unpaid wife and mother. Women then really were shortchanged. Forget their hopes, their dreams, the aspirations that filled their hearts. But oh, the courage. Pam, for short, set out to cross the ocean, cross most of a continent, to become a teacher in a prairie one-room school. But despite her training, her years of experience, she was paid a pittance, often shorted on her salary, with no one to plead her cause. And then a man she'd known in England chased her down. I'd heard that she had left in part to get away from him, but who knows? To make a story short, within a year they married, and Pam, for short, became Mrs. Husband's name. Her teaching career cut short. That's not all she lost. She'd been quite skilled with watercolors, but her husband was an artist, so she, the woman, drew the short straw, and her creativity was relegated to painting china cups and saucers and little porcelain flowers. And even in her newfound married role, it seemed she was caught short, and because no child was on its way, they adopted a son. But as so often happens in such a case, she soon found herself with child, a daughter of her own, another Pamela. A happy family? Perhaps. But her husband made short work of being faithful, so home life was often tense. Divorce was simply not done then, and so even though she got short shrift, she simply carried on. And when the grandkids came along, she relished her new role, for she truly did love children. I was the one fortunate enough to be the closest in time and space, perhaps in heart. But I, with a child's short-sightedness, just took her for granted. Pam, for short, was just grandma to me. She tried one time to tell me of her life, but I had a short attention span. Oh, I regret it now. So I don't know many details, but I do know her life came up short of what it might have been, and I look back with sorrow at my childhood blindness and self-centeredness. I never saw her as a person, a woman, an individual with needs, desires, sorrows of her own. Oh yes, Pam, for short. I think your life, in short, was harder than it needed be. Gifts and blessings did fall short, and though it's much too late, I'd like to tell you that I see you. I hold you in my memory and in my heart, with love that can't fall short. My beloved grandmother, Pamela, Pam for short.
My name is Patricia. I moved from Edmonton almost 2 years ago to Lethbridge. I wrote this poem in October. It's my first, and I'm working on some others. I call this poem Realization. I have moved to the flatlands, the land of the golden field. The trees didn't much bother to forest. In their place, the cracks filled their space. Cracks wide and deep, where the wind swirls like a dance, seducing lazy tall grass to sway and bend, anticipating their romance. While the sky as broad as heaven is wide, watches the frolic with a yawn and a stare, delightfully taking in that swirling air. A serene beauty, mysterious, almost melancholy, embraced with knowing and longing, to letting go, the power in that open flow. I did live the concrete, the collisions, the chaos, the commute, the confusion, the cars, the crowds, the congestion. Unapologetically, I have traded what once was for what has become the thrill of a loud, grisly growl, the piercing glance by a cougar's pending pounce, the gentle grass-grazing whitetail, and that silent, majestic, great horned owl. Ah, let those gale winds howl and blow, strong and fierce, over the cracks, wide and deep, while the sun beats time on these flat golden fields, scorching rays and streaming heat. Then at last, gently, he blows the goodnight kiss. Amid glowing stars shines his radiant moonbeam miss. I know I'm home, satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here again this evening. And I just wanted to, I've got two poems. One is a very short one. And if you were here a couple of months ago and heard this magnificent woman down here, Jolene, she did something that really touched me. It was about raisins, and I'm not big on raisins. And if you heard it, it opened the floodgates. You know, we all need those writer's prompts, and a couple of them were on raisins. I did one last month on that, and this is my last one on raisins, but I dedicate this to you. As a cook. Well, my spiced raisin pudding, it has bourbon galore. It has nutmeg. It has cinnamon and flavors to adore. But it's spice-free, no nutmeg or cinnamon, and it's pudding-free, and there's no raisins. So it's just bourbon. But my raisin and sherry trifle, oh, now it's a real delight. There's layers of gooey custard and cream, so light. But it's custard-free, it's cream-free, it's raisin-free, and okay, it's just sherry. Well, desserts, they're simple, they're neat. No raisins, no cake, no pudding to eat. Forget all that fluff. Just pour Jolene and I a glass, because liquor desserts are a recipe with class. Anyone else care to join us? Any of my others that were prompted by her wonderful poem are just about candy in general, not that raisins are. Okay, so Bev had mentioned, I thought it was really interesting last week about perhaps we should mention what our poetry makeup is. And I usually do, and I'm doing my next poem of, it's just rhyming couplets. And it's AABB, and usually when I'm writing music, it's that way, or ABAB. And then when I add, as you're getting to know, I don't do too many serious ones. So when you're adding in the comedic aspect of it, you shorten some of the lines to give it a bit of punch or dynamics, and so that's where a couple of my extra lines, but no raisins in this one. Okay. Computers. I walked in fuming, eyes aflame. My laptop is dead. Who's to blame? Not me. The screen, it was black. The thing won't start, and trust me, yes, I pushed that part. A grinning clerk, no more than 20, said, "Oh, tech talk, ma'am, I got plenty." She winked and she spoke in condensation, as if my age was brain suspension. "Your OS failed, your RAM's depleted, your cache is low, and your drive is overheated. Your CPU is bottlenecking, and your BIOS needs a full rechecking." I stared. I blinked. I clenched my jaw. I forced a smile and said, "Aha." But under my breath, my patience thin, I muttered other words. "Oh, forgive." "OS," I muttered, "not my ongoing stupidity." "RAM?" "Yes," I thought, "you're really annoying moron." "Cash, yes you are. Clearly a smug child here." "CPU?" "Yep, I'm receiving clueless, patronizing use." I was mad. She tapped some keys, the gears were churning, and then she snapped, "Ma'am, your password is burning. Just type it in. I'll get it fixed." Her smile was smug and her tone was mixed. But my stomach dropped. A mortal sin. Oh no, I'd forgotten my PIN. I tried fluffy 1, 2, 3 with dread, and it failed. The screen just flashed in red. My mother's name, my childhood street, my brain was mush. I felt defeat. Then, just as doom was closing in, the clerk looked up and flashed a grin. A handsome man had just strolled by, and suddenly, guess who caught his eye? "Excuse me, sir," she said, "you need assistance?" "Oh, forget her," pointing at me. She doesn't mean business." So the clerk ran off, a faithful pup, and she went to help Mr. Chiseljaw Pup. I stood there stunned. My laptop's dead. My password is lost within my head, and yet, as if the gods took pity, my laptop beeped. It restarted. What? Turns out the thing had overheated. Did she say that? Couldn't be. A simple switch was all it needed. No OS crash, no drive depletion, just basic tech and my frustration. And as for Miss Tech Patrol, I left her drooling, lost in soul, for while she worshipped Mr. Hunky Guy, I left victorious with myself intact. Bye-bye. Thank you.
So I'd like to introduce this next poet. It's Kat Charissage. She's been writing poetry for a long time, but anyway, thanks. I decided tonight to read a few of my poems from a few years back, and 2 of them have to do with spring, and this is one of them. Listen to the seeds. Listen to the seeds, rootstock of life. Women, stay close to your ovaries. Listen, life is possible. Life will come again. We have the womb room ready to nurture something new, made of wisdom and understanding. I hold on to this hope when what fills my today isn't what I thought should define my life. I hold on to this truth when pain reigns the body into the body and soul in physical breakdowns, family despairs, loss of hopes for what could have been, another 10 families forever wounded by guns and anger, Hundreds of thousands of people, just like my ancestors, looking for safety while homelands are razed. And 1 million more people just like us, ready to follow a hope for possibility and a home. It's not quite done, but I had to get the microphone here. How is it possible to create something new, something good? I remember in a time-space carved from a world already full, that a spark and an opening can receive, hold, nourish a grace from mystery that will unfold from paradox. My own golden cup of offering for those within my reach. And my reach, your reach, can extend, branch off, grow with what is already here, fire, water, earth, and air, until the eggs of new life are ready to open into singing birds of hope, freedom, and surprising new life. Listen to what wisdom and understanding can do with word, image, dreaming in silence, to birth new possibility, something we have not yet seen. The seeds are calling, asking for the spark and the space to dream something new into our worlds. Listen. Thank you. This one is called Entering the Labyrinth. Am I willing to enter? Well, to steal James Joyce's line, yes, I said yes, I said yes. I will. I want to go within. I want visions, not illusions, depth, not blather, nourishment, not potato chips. Well, okay, maybe potato chips too. We can trust the labyrinth because we can't get lost. One way in, no dead ends, only life and more life to find in the center, my center. Roses blooming, mysteries unfolding, iridescence flashing. Open my eyes to see the blessings all around, so that after the journey and the pause, I can bring out the treasure to share and share and share. Thank you.
This first one is called Withering Apricot. All right. He doesn't have the capacity for empathy. It isn't even something he could comprehend or understand, especially not in this delusional shell of a mind that remains in his accumulated years of only self-regard and the urge to please those who can make his pockets fatter. He's keen on those who support his superficial ideas of self-grandeur. They stroke and flatter. He sure does love a good ass-kisser. Countlessly demonstrating he is primitive and intellectually IQ challenged. His belly and orange, sagging face are feeling gravity stronger than ever. His moral compass, however, small it must have been sometime long, long ago, in his childhood perhaps. He has successfully, completely, absolutely, undoubtedly disintegrated and ignited extreme hatred that incinerated over time what was left of this crinkled, cracked compass, stemming from years of having an ever-growing dysfunctional brain, family life, expectations, and mental illness, from the complete and utter absence of love and contempt for absolutely everything other than someone who can immediately or greatly benefit him directly. The only important attribute you seek in your twisted, mauled, and deformed view on humanity, society, our plants, animals, oceans, forests, and air is how it can keep you rich, fat, feeling in control, and loved by those who feel like the absolute absence of compassion and human decency is the route to take. You would call it an investment to roll over the most vulnerable. A whole new word should be invented to describe your level of horrible. And that's not even speaking to the absolute terror of the blood-borne devil that sits on your shoulder. His stench of life's disregard and his pores musk. Hatred embodied and putrid evil remains on this once human husk. That's my first political poem. And we know who I'm talking about. Speaking. Speaking of raisins and withered fruit.
Tell us how you really feel.
Okay, the next one, this is a new song that I'm just going to speak. It hasn't been performed yet, but it's a song about dance, and it's called Frequency. So it goes like this. Maybe not in this order, but this is all the parts, how they're going to be read tonight. Let me feel excited. Music turn you loose. You know you are invited. Groove if you want to groove. Hips shaking like firelight. Body sync to the beat. Night bringing that energy. Feet maneuvering. All on looking eyes. Come on and shake that fine frame. You know a few dance movements. Spirit nurturing. All on looking eyes. Come out and shake that fine frame. You know a few dance movements. Spirit nurturing. You know we're dancing like there's no one watching. Shimmy off the stress. It's amazing how we come together when our shuffling's not suppressed. You know we're dancing like there's no one watching. Shimmy off the stress. It's amazing how we come together when our shuffling's not suppressed. Tango, two-step, twirl, twist, and swing. Cut that rug, shake that thing. Boogie, zomba, disco, sway. Waltz and bop and masquerade. Let me feel excited. Music turn you loose. You know you are invited. Groove if you want to groove. Hips shaking like firelight. Body sync to the beat. Night bringing that energy. Feet maneuvering. All on looking eyes. Come on and shake that fine frame. You know a few dance movements. Spirit nurturing. All on looking eyes. Come out and shake that fine frame. You know a few dance movements. Spirit nurturing. And that's that one. Thank you. And I guess the moral of that is when we come together, we can, relieve the stress and do some powerful things, whether it's dance, song, or just, yeah.
So my first poem is called Migration. And it's kind of a working poem, so forgive me. Our first snowfall hit on a Monday. It started out as rain. I was draped in a dark wool coat, smoking a cigarette. It added to the heaviness I so often carry. My pockets dripped with bad choices, faults, fissures, a guilt that's inherited and not all my own. I looked up, and as the rain slashed my face with slush, a cold, slow burn, I witnessed a flock of sparrows stream across the townsite sky. They needed to get where they were going in a hurry. I pondered while I wandered. How do birds fly against the snow? Adaptation, preparation, migration, maybe not in that order. I've read that bigger, that is, the fatter birds, have a better chance of survival. For me, that adaptation is emotional and driven, and why I eat more in the cold winter months. I can say I felt that freeze in July. It comes with weathered skin, a hollowed soul, and deliberate wounds. Birds are cold-blooded in their legs and feet, and why they can stand on ice for hours with apparent ease. If only my eyes were cold-blooded, I wouldn't feel your stare, icy and gutted. Birds are down-feathered beneath, keeping them warm and insulated. I work on getting my heart down-filled to stay heated and undefeated. Once indoors, I remove my weighty coat and reflect on those sparrows. I sit with hot tea and jot some words. Migrated thoughts, prepared heart, located voice, maybe not in that order. I will continue making art if only I can soar through the winter. But I'd much rather be the turtle, frozen in time under the ice, as long as I've got my cigarettes and some artist device. This next one is taken from a children's book that I'm working on, so it's just bits and pieces of that. A mural made for you. One morning, when the sun stretched over the res, Auntie visited me to join her for something. Auntie invited me to join her for something. Today, Auntie said, we are going to paint a mural. It will tell a story, our story. My heart quickened with anticipation. We'll paint the land, we'll paint Ini, the river, the mountains, the stars. We'll paint our people and our stories. This mural will tell them that we remember. It is a mural made for you. Moving slowly, I watched the paint seep within the wall, and in the swirling strokes, I began to feel something deep. That same feeling words offer a poet, or cinnamon gives a baker, or felt gives a custom hatter, or hemp gives a weaver. Art is a confluence. Every animal we hunt, every willow we gather, every berry we pick, we offer ourselves, and in return, the land and its art provides. The day of the unveiling arrived, and the community came together. The air buzzed with the beat of drums and song. The smell of roasted meats and sweet berries carried from picnic tables. It was the art, as it often does, that brought us together. The mural brought healing. It brought us closer. It gifted up time. It gifted imagination. Art, Auntie says, her voice soft and steady, is like the river. It moves, it flows, it changes, it carries us, it holds. It's a mural made for you. Thank you.
Okay, I have 3 to read tonight. This first one is called To Whom It May Be Concerned.
No. This way? Yes.
There we go. Okay. To whom it may be concerned. I will never have a relationship with you. I know what you are capable of. You are an abuser, a life ruiner. Others might not know it. They haven't met that side of you yet. I see the real you, always. I know what you are, a shadow, still there in the dark, waiting. Others might forgive that side of you. I remember what happened. I know what you'll do. Tick, tick, sip, slip. Your slick tricks will never work on me. You're a perversion whose sole purpose is destruction. In passing, face to face, memory, flashback, I have met the real you, a version I will never forget, even if I wanted to. So go ahead and try it on someone else, because to me, you're nothing but a murderer. Reality, happiness, killjoy. And people too, whole families, generations. You're twisted, you sick. How could you? Why? That's my friend, my cousin, my uncle, my aunt, my parents, my grandparents. Radioactive, swallow. Pollution, swallow. Grief, swallow. Try your version of love somewhere else. You won't, can't, will never fool me. I know what you're capable of. I know what you are. I know what you'll do. I remember because I have to, because I don't get to forget, because I don't blink, I see it all. And the pain you leave behind when you slither your way down someone else's throat, suffocate, asphyxiate, strangulate, I will feel that too. Others might not see it, or maybe they just don't care. But me, I will never have a relationship with you. And then this next one I wrote for my Uncle Henry. It was his birthday last week, and I didn't know what to write in the card, so I decided to come up with a poem instead. It's called Ode to Uncle Ely, which was my nickname for him growing up. Ode to Uncle Ely. What makes a deadly uncle? To be honest, I can't be sure, but I'll tell you what I know. I see them on the res, in the city, tall Indians with long braids peeking out from a sick hat, a dark jacket and a beaded medallion, wickedly laughing when someone says some dumb kicking ass at Scrabble and giving me the best books, sharing a smoke outside, sharing poetry when we go back in. I guess what I am sure of is that I have the deadliest uncle.
This first one is called On the Days My Self-Esteem is a Cornered Arachnid. I step lightly. The Chinook breaks ice and streets grow wet. I desire to shrink. Days begin late and end too soon. My left arm itches inside its fiberglass cast. The shape bleeds beyond my waking life. Sometimes we pretend we have nothing to look forward to. Then sleep visits. I am whole. I am whole again. She tells me she admires the vivid nature of my dreams. I take delicate care each morning to remember its story. My other self, like cornering a spider with a sheet of paper and a glass. Okay, this last one's a fun one. I started a new job in January in Standoff, and I always give my leftovers to the dogs that are running around because they're our cousins. It's called An Ode to Res Dogs. To the woman named Sorrow and her firstborn named Joy, I have witnessed none happier than the dogs crossing autumn's fence line. Townsite kids are in school. My poet successor hones his vocabulary and thinks about hot lunch. I am a man whose job pays nothing. We call this heart. I ride a bicycle going nowhere. I am fulfilled. I save leftovers from my mother's house. A bowl of stew, macaroni, cupcakes, beans, and hash browns. Her Blackfoot name is Generosity. I pull into Chief Shot Both Sides building parking lot and whistle. My jealousy is intact. Hope clings to my socks like ghost bullets. The dogs rise from their curled, open-aired burrows. Who are your parents? Your children. Teach me what kinship means. This day I will feed you. Tomorrow, someone else who lives in the wide open spaces of their heart will feed you. My sole regret is you and your friends eat too fast. I promise I will return. I promise I will make your journey through ditches, through fields worth the trip. Thank you. Oh.
I got a few new ones. It's been a while since I've been here, so I got a few that I've been working on for a while. The first one is called The Cowboy's Dead. The cowboy's dead, my friend, I said as I packed my saddle to the barn. I heaved a sigh as I threw it on the stand one last time. I hung my bits and spurs on the wall. I stood my boots by the door. I looped my chaps on the horn and put my rope in the can. I turned and looked one last time as I cut the lights out of the barn. That's it. That's all. I walked into the darkness and met what was at the end. This last one, a little bit darker, it's called You Can Die in the Cold. You can die in the cold in the arms of a nightmare. The nightmare is warmer than the cold in my bed. I embrace the horror and pain just to know I still feel. It's how I know I'm breathing and not just a ghost. I was asked once, "Are you okay?" I whispered, "I'm fine." It's easier than saying I'm dying in the cold in the arms of a nightmare. Thanks. The next one doesn't have a title, but also a little bit darker. It's kind of going through a rough patch there for a while. Suicide, a permanent fix to a temporary problem. Put yourself in a pine box. That'll stop all the talk. Give everyone a shake with this earthquake. Watch them cry at your wake. I wrote down the words so you might find them and take your finger from the trigger. The barrel off your temple, you'll start to figure, damn, man, life is simple. It all comes down to one word. I'll let you find it.
Do you know that Owl Poetry has been going now for 6.5 years? In the summertime, in July, it will be our 7th anniversary. And for a small, thank you, yes. And for a small community-based nonprofit, we're not even an organization. It's me and Teri and the people, the good people here at the Owl, who put this on. It's unusual that things can go on that long on a community-based platform. So we're very proud of Owl Poetry. And I think one of the things that makes it really strong is that all are welcome here. The rule is that you need to read your own poetry, not somebody else's. Every person gets 5 minutes at the mic. Don't worry, I don't have the hook. I'm not going to pull you off stage if you go, a minute or so longer. But just so that we can get as many poets as want to perform, that we can do that. Before we start for good, I just want to acknowledge that we are on First Nations land, and we give recognition to Blackfoot people, past, present, and future here. Yes. And a sincere thank you to the Owl Acoustic Lounge for having us, and to our sponsor this month, Bev Muendel-Atherstone, who will be one of our poets. Yes. She's been our sponsor for several months, and we really appreciate her. The other thing about Bev that you ought to know is that she is truly a woman of distinction. The YWCA's yearly gala, yearly gala picks a few women from the community who are outstanding in some particular way. And this year they picked Bev. And I think it's for a lifetime achievement. That's it, yes. Bev is a powerhouse of energy. I want to be just like her when I grow up. And unfortunately, I'm a little close to her age. So I'm going to have to be getting more energetic as I grow older rather than the other way around. But anyway, we and the community really acknowledge you, Bev, and appreciate all of the work that you've done. And so, give her a little bit of owl love, please.